Did you get your dose of Christianity with this one?
Oh, I talked to Steve. Even me? I had my B3. I checked my vitamins. I do about 300% of the daily minimum dosage, daily required dosage.
Oh, you
Maybe
mean
there is a BC problem.
B, you get a B multivitamin.
Yeah, I get a B multivitamin, then I get another multivitamin. So I saw a discussion, I read something, I didn't keep it, but it was right up your alley. It was, I think it was something based on C.S. Lewis, because we had come up with that, where they're talking about, C.S. Lewis is talking to a atheist rationalist, and the rationalist is saying that he doesn't believe in all these ghosts and stuff, and all this is just crap in your head, you know? And C.S. Lewis says, well, isn't that what rational thought is? Just stuff in your head, no more a part of the world. and I immediately, Stephen just jumped out at me, you know, about this, how to distinguish the world from our thinking about it. And how we think.
Well,
Was
if we
that
live in a,
before? Hello, everybody.
hi,
Hi,
Sharon.
Sharon.
Well, we live with the ghost in our head, no matter what we believe.
That's right. So you can't disqualify certain positions on the fact that they represent head ghost.
Well, the Christians have got a good argument, actually. They believe the ghost in their head is trained by the greater ghost.
Ah.
So the ghost in their head is relevant, whereas if you're just an atheist, the ghost in your head's just a ghost in your head. And your values are meaningless, but if you have a big God,
What's the Christian ghost called? What's the Christian ghost called?
well, actually, they had a Holy Ghost. It's the Holy Ghost is quite interesting because when they claim that Jesus is going to come back, it's not actually quite the case. If you look at the books, what Jesus said is, "I'm going, but the Holy Ghost will come back to look after you." But I only say that what's the point of atheists having values? Because the Christians claim they've got a big God that guarantees their values. Okay, if that's true, there's a certain logic to that. But why do the Christians? Why do the atheists bother with values? Because they can have any values they like. Doesn't matter.
Well, it's very un-Platonic and un-Aristotelian. The Greeks largely, you had to develop your character for yourself, not for someone else.
Well, Plato actually believed in the perfect form. That was his God, you might say. That this was a world of imperfection, but above this world there was the perfect form, and there was the perfect form of perfect forms, which is his monotheistic God of a sort.
Well, there was the idea of the good.
Yeah.
But I, you know, you can look at that, I think, as, wow, there's this other world. But other than that, I think that there's a hierarchy of values. There are things that we do for the sake of something else, and there are things that we do for the sake of themselves. And the idea of the good is the ultimate object in the hierarchy of those things we do for themselves. And I don't think there's anything magical there, but you have to anchor these hierarchies, otherwise you're in an infinite regression. And so that was a way to anchor a hierarchy at the top. Stop the regression.
Okay, but a hierarchy of what?
Of things we want, things we desire.
And things we need for health.
Or whatever. Even bad people construct hierarchies of things in which they want.
Do you mean priorities?
Well, in Plato, there's a phrase. It's T Heneca 2. That for the sake of which. And you can look at any action. Am I doing this because it's intrinsically worth doing, or am I doing it for the sake of something else? And all objects of desire, want, whatever,
Okay,
all
that sounds a bit like authenticity.
That I wouldn't know. That's, my philosophy education stops about 1860 or something. We hadn't invented authenticity yet.
That was later.
No, but that's what I found in Plato, is he's constantly in his arguments and in his ordering of things that you would want, putting them into hierarchies. Or,
Well, tragically, the problem with Plato is he lived with a spiritual context.
yeah.
He didn't have the advantage of today's atheism. He lived in a world which hadn't, let's see, discovered it hadn't it hadn't tossed God out as a prime mover. So they had a prime mover, and they thought, yeah, could be a great spirit that's moving everything. So I wander around, and all my actions, there is the presence of the prime mover. But Newton decided all he needed was gravity, and so much for the prime mover. And after that, everyone became deists, because they thought, well, yeah, maybe a God created the universe, but the universe can now just drift without the hand of God. So the universe and I am estranged. If there is a God, I can exist for a time without God. And then they got rid of that concept altogether, and then we got pure atheism.
I would say two things. One, you're constantly reminding about how irrational I am. You remind me all the time. And two, about how happy I am being irrational. But I will say that I'm not sure Newtonian stuff, I think it wasn't long before Leibniz asked a very simple question. How do it know? You've got two objects in the Newtonian universe, and say, like, and through gravity, which is just a word in Newtonian physics, they attract each other. And Leibniz says, well, that's really amazing. They don't have any way of even knowing that the other thing exists. How would possibly could they attract each other? And the same for all the other forces. Things that can't know each other have no awareness, sensory, or through
don't trust
some
that.
feeling?
Not like he's just trying to.
Leibniz, he's a
He's just trying to.
troublemaker.
It's just trying to move in the prime mover under your nose. Do you realise that?
Oh, well,
He's full of the prime mover. He's thinking this Newton guy's taken the prime mover out.
but
I've got to sneak him back in.
but modern physics actually takes that pretty seriously now, that, between any particles, if they're aware of each other, there's a particle interaction. They have to have a mediating particle that travels back and forth between, so they can answer that question. How do it know? You know,
So you
so
can't imagine gravity just as a pure force.
well, it's not in Einstein. It is in Newton, but it's not in Einstein. It's just
Really? Oh well, sorry.
yeah. Look that up. That's even
I
on
thought you didn't go
YouTube.
past
Gravity.
1860.
Yeah, no, well, that's 1915. I got yeah, maybe I did read some stuff in the 20th century.